Very good morning. The top news is brought to you by Resonate International with a mission to leverage knowledge worldwide. The news being covered is navigating the turbulent waters of the South China Sea. The South China Sea, a critical maritime region with its vast strategic and economic importance, has long been a focal point of geopolitical tension. Historically, multiple nations in the area have laid claims over the portions of the South China Sea, leading to overlapping territorial disputes. China's controversial Nine-Dash Line claim, which encompasses nearly 90% of this sea, has been a major flashpoint recently between China and the Philippines, both blaming each other for the escalation in which their ships collided with each other in the sea. Encompassing an area of approximately 3.5 million square kilometers, this sea is bordered by China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan, and is home to vital shipping lanes with around 30% of the world's maritime trade passing through these waters annually. The region is not only rich in natural resources, including an estimated 11 billion barrels of untapped oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. The region is also abundant in fisheries, supporting the livelihoods of millions in Southeast Asia. All surrounding countries contest China's territorial claims. The maritime history of South China Sea is deeply intertwined with the economic and strategic ambitions of surrounding nations. Historically, the region served as a critical trade route for centuries, connecting the East with the West. Chinese dynastics of the much earlier centuries asserted influence over this area, primarily through maritime trade and cultural exchanges, rather than direct territorial control. However, the modern territorial disputes trace back to more recent history, particularly post-World War II. In 1947, China introduced a U-shaped 11-dash line, later modified to the 9-dash line, claiming vast portions of the South China Sea through set of line segments on the maps that accompanied China's territorial claims in the area. These claims were based on historical maps, which China argues show ancient usage of the waters. However, these claims were never universally recognized, especially as they conflicted with the emerging post-war international order and principles of sovereign equality. The 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea further complicated the issue by defining exclusive economic zones extending 200 nautical miles from a country's coastline, rights under the law of the sea. The 2016 ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which invalidated China's claims under UN Convention on the Law of Sea, is a pivotal moment in this history. The court concluded that China had not exercised exclusive and continuous control over the area and that certain features lie within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, although it was not able to rule on matters of territorial sovereignty and maritime delimitation. China rejected this decision and continued to assert its activities in the area, including island building and militarization, further thus heightening the tension in this sea. In nutshell, since the 1990s, several rounds of negotiations have taken place, but almost all have faltered due to mistrust, power imbalances, and differing interpretations of sovereignty. Today, the South China Sea is a tinderbox of geopolitical tensions and one of the world's most volatile regions, with historic claims clashing with modern legal and strategic realities. China's extensive artificial island building and militarization efforts, including the deployment of anti-ship missiles, radar systems, and fighter jets on these artificially constructed islands, are seen by all as attempts to create facts on the ground, or rather facts in the water, that bolster its territorial claims despite international opposition. For China, the South China Sea is seen as a core interest vital to its national security and economic strategy, particularly the Belt and Road Initiative. Meanwhile, the US views freedom of navigation and adherence to international law as non-negotiable principles essential to maintaining global order. Additionally, these members find themselves caught between balancing relations with China, their largest trading partner, and safeguarding their sovereignty. Diplomatic efforts such as the proposed code of conduct between China and ASEAN has made very little progress, with mistrust and differing national interests stalling the negotiations. The US and other global powers are increasingly concerned about China's actions, viewing them as part of a broader strategy to assert dominance in the Indo-Pacific. The US has responded with freedom of navigation operations, challenging China's claims by sailing through contested waters, signaling that it does not recognize China's sovereignty over these areas. This has led to increased military presence and occasional standoffs between Chinese and US naval forces. Additionally, the involvement of other external powers, such as Japan and Australia, has further complicated the situation. In response, China has not only bolstered its military presence, but also has embarked on a diplomatic campaign attempting to sway ASEAN nations through economic incentives. Yet, this approach has met with mixed results, as countries like Vietnam and the Philippines remain wary of China's intentions, even as they engage in bilateral negotiations. ASEAN's role is complicated by its diversity. Member states have different levels of dependence on China, leading to a lack of consensus on how to approach the South China Sea issue. The ongoing negotiations over the Code of Conduct are emblematic of this challenge, as China prefers a non-binding agreement while ASEAN members seek stronger commitments. The South China Sea dispute remains one of the most complex and volatile geopolitical issues of our time. For the region to move beyond the current impasse, historical perspectives and modern realities must both be addressed. China, in particular, could benefit from a more realistic assessment of its historical claims in light of current international norms. There could, however, be possible approach which could benefit everyone. First, revisiting historical narratives. China could engage in a more nuanced dialogue that acknowledges the historical complexities of the region while also recognizing the limitations of historical claims in the modern legal context. By emphasizing mutual respect and shared history rather than unilateral claims, China could open the door to more constructive discussions with its neighbors. Second is strengthening the diplomatic channels. ASEAN should unify its stance and engage China in a meaningful dialogue to finalize the code of conduct. A binding agreement with clear enforcement mechanisms would be a significant step towards reducing tensions. Third is leveraging international law. Regional actors should continue to appeal to international legal frameworks such as UN Convention on the Law of Sea. Enhanced cooperation with global powers to uphold the 2016 arbitral ruling could place pressure on China to comply with the international norms. Fourth could be enhancing regional security. A regional security framework involving ASEAN, the US and other Quad members, Japan, Australia, India, could act as a deterrent against unilateral actions. Joint patrols and intelligence sharing can help monitor activities in disputed areas. Fifth could be promoting economic cooperation. Joint development agreements in the South China Sea, particularly in resource-rich areas, could foster collaboration rather than conflict. Revenue sharing models could provide mutual economic benefits and reduce the likelihood of confrontation. In conclusion, the South China Sea stands at a critical juncture where historical legacies and modern realities must converge. For China, acknowledging the limits of historical claims within the framework of international law could pave the way for more meaningful cooperation in the region. By prioritizing diplomacy over confrontation and cooperation over cohesion, the nations involved can ensure that the South China Sea remains a vital artery of global commerce and a symbol of peaceful coexistence. The stakes are too high for any other course. Good luck, thank you, and God bless.